Namaskar. This video is going to be a little different from the other videos I make. First of all, it's going to be sort of spontaneous, so if you find something weird, it's because that's how I talk. Secondly, usually I make videos about the concepts from ancient India, the philosophies of ancient India, the philosophies from the Vedas, the Vedanta, the concept of reality, the concept of consciousness, all these kind of things. You might think that these kinds of philosophical and spiritual concepts and knowledge about yoga, dhyana and all these kind of things are for people who are meditating in the forest and the mountain, like the monks, rishis, gurus, near the Himalayas, living in the ashram or something. We people, as living in society, always have some aim or the other that we are rushing towards, something that we want, that we are trying to get it, some responsibility that we are trying to fulfill, some problem that we are trying to solve. Usually we are not interested in philosophy, right? But I think that even us, the people who are very engrossed in the material world, as we call it, sometimes feel like kind of like jealous, of the people who are sitting in the mountains and just chilling, meditating. The way they are peaceful at all times, the way that they are smiling in bliss. Don't you wish that you didn't have to run for something or the other your entire life and you could just sit and you could be at peace, you could be in bliss? What if I told you that we could use some of that wisdom, we could take that wisdom and utilize it and realize it and bring that peace to our lives? That wisdom which would not just give us peace and bliss and the happiness that we are running after. Because let's be honest, everything you're doing in life has the basic core that you want to be happy. It is a fact. So what if we can get that wisdom and always be at bliss? And not just that, but live a more worthy life. I am not a guru, I am not a rishi. So what gives me the right to tell you this? Actually, I found that wisdom, the wisdom from the ancient rishis, the wisdom from the Vedas, and I converted from a person who was very terribly living life in a horrible state, to a person who is sort of okay in life, sometimes in peace, sometimes in bliss, doing my karma. I know I look kind of average, but trust me, since I found this wisdom, it has brought tremendous change in me and almost saved my life. And always in all of my videos, I have been talking about what I learned. For this video, I thought maybe I should share something that I used, to recover. So, the wisdom that I'm talking about, it can be spoken in one line. And when you listen to it, you might find it kind of weird and cliche that, okay, what's new? But if you truly realize this concept, if you truly realize this fact, it can bring amazing changes in your life, trust me, if you truly realize this. So the statement is, you are not your mind. I know, sounds obvious, but this statement that I am not my mind, everywhere I read, every great rishi from whichever philosophy, whichever section of philosophy from thousands of years, every single rishi has spoken this line, I am not my mind, again and again and again. And when I came through this concept, so many times I thought that, see, if an excellent teacher is saying something again and again, it has to be something of the greatest importance, right? So many great teachers, so many enlightened beings are saying this thing again again. Mano buddhi hankar chitta ninaham. I am not my mind, not my intelligence, not my chinta, not my ahankar. Almost everybody in the world identifies themselves as their mind. I am angry, I am sad, I am upset with that person, I can't do this. But that's not the truth. Your mind is angry, your mind is sad, your mind thinks that it cannot do that, your mind is upset with that person. So if I am not my mind and my mind is telling me those things, then what am I? There is a very beautiful shloka which very beautifully paints a picture and explains the entire sort of human existence. And it can bring a drastic change in the way you look at yourself. I know I'm saying it about a lot of things, but it's true. So this shloka says that your body is a rath. Your senses are the horses that are pulling this rath, that is chariot. Your mind is the driving instrument. Your intelligence is the sarthi or the driver, and you, actual you, which we call Atma, Brahma, consciousness, you are just the passenger. You know why these Rishi Munis seem to be always at peace, looking around, chilling? It's because they realize themselves with that passenger sitting on that rath. They are not bothered by the horses and the driving instruments and the sarthi. I'll explain it a little bit better. So the mind, that is the driving instrument, is directly connected to the horse, that is the senses. So whatever your senses wants, that is exactly what your mind will want. If your senses say, the sense of taste says that I want tasty stuff, your mind will say that I want tasty stuff. But if you identify yourself as your mind, you will say that I want tasty stuff. You will believe that I want tasty stuff, even though your intelligence knows that you're not supposed to eat that. It's not good for you. Biggest example of that is me. I am the biggest culprit of that. My sense of taste, that horse, it is out of control. It is the last thing that I need to control. Of course, look at me, I'm fat. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so that is what you will believe. I want these things. You know why people know that something is good for them but they are still not able to do it? A classic example is of a student one day before exam. A student like me per se. So I know that tomorrow is my exam. I should study. But apparently my senses want to watch TV. My senses want to eat tasty things. So that is what my mind says. I am going to do that. And why don't people, even though they know that something is good for them, not able to do that? Because their intelligence, that is their sarthi, is sitting like this. The sarthi, the intelligent, thinks that it cannot control the mind, even though it is made to do that. It is not an arguable thing. It is a fact from ancient Indian literature. It is a fact from the Vedas. And especially if you are a devout Hindu, if you are a religious person, like every other religious people consider their book as the word of God, if you believe this as the word of God, you should believe that your intelligence has the capability. It is made to control your mind. Even if you are not a Hindu, even if you are not a religious person, try to believe this with all your existence, that your intelligence is capable of changing, is capable of molding your mind, because it is the sarthi. It sits above it. And let's talk about the passenger for a minute. That is what explains meditation. That passenger, if you truly identify yourself with that passenger who is not your intelligence, not your mind, not your senses, because these things keep changing. Let's be honest, would you be even friends with the person you were 5 years ago? I wouldn't be. Your mind has changed, your intelligence had changed. The senses, what they wanted, they had changed. But since you are born, at least in your memory, you have been the same. You are your consciousness. We'll talk about this a bit later. So from this shloka, if you are a person with, let's say you are a sadhava person, already, you will be able to mold your mind understanding this shloka. But what if your condition is worse than that? What if your mind is your worst enemy? This was the case for me, and this is the case for almost everybody. It's like if we want to make our mind not do something, it will do it. Like if I say that don't imagine an elephant wearing a pink skirt, you just imagined it. That is how mind works. And that is what I thought for the first time when I was, I think, in 8th standard. I was told during meditation that you have to keep your mind quiet. How am I supposed to do that? The more you tell your mind to keep quiet, the more it will talk. You're not in coma, right? So, if you are a kind of person, which honestly most people are, for whom their mind is their greatest enemy, and even if at this point you have realized that okay, my mind is different, my intelligence is different, but your mind keeps saying kach 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 kach, something against your will. Your mind keeps acting like your enemy, saying things like you can't do this, this is wrong, I hate that person, all these kind of things. What if your mind is your greatest enemy? So, what do you do with your greatest enemy, who is very, very powerful, extremely powerful? You can't fight it. You can't fight such a strong enemy. You will lose. You can't beg for mercy. It is a cruel enemy. Again, you will lose. So, what do you do with such a cruel enemy? The best thing that you can do to your enemy is ignore it. I know it might sound sort of weird or obvious, but if you are able to realize that I am not my mind, if I am able to realize that okay, there is something sort of not controllable factor about my mind and it keeps saying some things, I can completely believe that it is some kind of television which I don't like that is running in the behind of my head. A great Rishi once said that a person who is present in true yoga, a true yogi, lives his life, is able to experience the events of his life just the way that we see television. Because we see television, something bad happens, we might cry, right? Because something bad happened, but we don't suffer because of it. Similarly, when a yogi experiences something in their life which is suppose hurtful to their mind, they don't suffer, because just like we don't identify ourselves with the character in the television, we don't think that I am that character. Similarly, a yogi does not think that I am my mind. I want to share a statement with you which I almost chant back to myself like a mantra whenever I am in a bad situation. That line is, the day that you realize that the chattering of your mind is as insignificant, as pointless as the noise around you, that day you will attain mukti. This statement, the more I realize it, the more wonders I've been able to do. I mean, I know I'm still an average person, but I've come a long way from being in a terrible state to being a person who is at peace. You know, the second thing that I was talking about in the beginning of attaining peace. of truly being at the state of bliss like that of the rishis, I just say one thing. You just need to find who you are. You need to realize that passenger. Whenever you are meditating, even if you are just like normal living your life, try to live with your consciousness. Try to realize the Satchidananda, the divinity that is present in you. Try to truly become the passenger of that rath and see everything else, all your surroundings and everything in your mind, your body as external things, just living with your consciousness. I have talked about this thing in very detail in a video. I'll link it in the cards above and in the description below. I hope that will help you. And I hope that this video helped you. I don't know if there are many people who have this issue of having a kind of mind that is acting like an enemy, doing opposite things, but that is the problem that I faced. And I thought maybe I should share how I coped up with it. So if you like this video, if it was helpful to you in any way, do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up. My mind would really like it, and but me talking about me, I am bliss. Jai Shri Ram.